Hey, everybody, and welcome to a very special episode of Bottomless Coffee. We are live at Inver Hills Community College with members of the Inver Hills uh, LGBT Plus Club. How you
Hello,
doing?
I'm
Hello.
good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. I'm really happy to be here. There's cake in the back, which always
hmm
gets me
Oh yeah.
very excited.
I'm very excited.
And I chugged a coffee earlier, so
Oh, okay.
I'm in very good spirits.
Living up to the name, Bottomless Coffee.
Yeah, that's the vibe. That's the vibe. Now, today we're doing something that's a little special. What we did is we asked you to let us know what you wanted to talk about. And it's a little bit different from the podcast that I typically hear, where we're like, okay, we're going to go off to this college and we're going to ask random people on the street questions or what have you. Or we're not going to give you a chance to have the microphone and lift up what you want to lift up. This is really like kind of your time. And so periodically during the conversation, other people who are in the room might tap in or tap out if they have something that they want to share. So, we'll all be working through that together,
hmm
and it should be really fun. But I think we should maybe start with introductions. So, my name is Jerome Evans. My pronouns are he, him, and I'll be hosting this episode of Bottomless Coffee. How about you go next?
Hi, I'm Ren Johnson. I use they, he pronouns, and I'm the president of the LGBT Plus Club here at Inver.
How long have you been the president for?
This is my first year at Inver, so first
Nice.
year president.
Well, nice job so far, Red.
Thank you, thank you.
Hi, I'm Dakota. I use they them pronouns. I am the secretary of the LGBTQ plus club here at Inver Hills.
Well, thank you both for stepping up and being officers in your club. That's awesome. I want to have a special thank you also to Amy Zohar back there for bringing us all together. Thank you,
Yeah.
Amy. Amy declined to take a microphone today, but you can find Amy online. Apparently, she has previously done podcasts
She's
before,
famous.
so. Okay, well, let's just start off with something easy. High school versus college. Ren, we'll ask you to go first. Like, how was your experience? How was your life experience in college different from high school?
Everything is different and so much better. Getting to wake up and be in the body that, like, as a transgender person, like getting to wake up and like not having to worry about how am I walking, how am I holding my hands, how am I like doing everything to try and be so masculine, and just getting to be myself allows me so much more time to do the things I want to do with my life, like getting involved in clubs here on campus.
Huh. Well, so what was it about high school that made you feel like you couldn't be yourself?
I wasn't like on hormone therapy yet. I've been on testosterone now for 2 years, and I had to wear a binder every day, which was just very constricting.
Yeah.
And I've now since had surgery, and I feel much more liberated in my body, and a lot of therapy too. I recommend everyone goes to therapy. Therapy is so wonderful, and it has helped me a lot, and a lot of people I know. And just improving that mental health and physical health has helped me to do the things I want to do in college versus high school.
And you came to Inver Hills and
Mhm.
you felt like you were in an environment where you could be liberated.
Because in like high school, I went to the same elementary school, middle school, and high school, so everyone already knew me since I was 5 years old and
Yeah.
kept using the wrong name and the wrong pronouns, and
Oh.
even except for like my close friends and a few like of my teachers, because they were like, yeah, you're cool, you're Ren, we love you, Ren. But everyone else was like, oh, I already learned your name 10 years ago, why should I put in the effort to relearn it now? Yeah.
Well, I don't love that. And Dakota?
Yeah. I definitely like college a lot better. I feel
Okay.
like I can be more open as myself because in high school I was really finding out who I was, and I'm still finding out who I am now, but I just feel like people are more accepting and they're just going to go with the flow a little bit more than in high school because, well, like Ren said, like everyone already knows you and they don't want a lot of people don't want to put in the effort to know who you are like now and how you identify as yourself. Like,
Oh, that's
Yeah.
interesting because everyone really changes at that point
mm,
in their life.
Mhm.
And it doesn't, I honestly, it's, preaching to the choir here. It's really not that hard.
Yeah.
And it's not, as someone who has made that transition in conversation with other people, it's not difficult to respect people's names and respect their identity and just accept people as they present themselves to you. And so I'm glad that coming to college gave you a chance to really start over fresh in a way
Especially
that's
with,
positive.
at least for me, during like most of my high school was with COVID pandemic, like the online learning that started in like the end of my freshman year and was still like coming out of it during my senior year. So
Yeah.
getting to actually be here and talk to people face to face is very nice.
Oh, good.
Mhm.
This podcast started during lockdown. We started as a remote podcast, which is why we had video already going into it. And so I'm like, well, yeah, a podcast without video. Like, what even is that? But apparently, back in the day, that's what everyone was doing. Go fig.
You're just cool like that. You got the video podcast.
It's tough to be cool when you have a podcast. Honestly, it makes it more difficult to be cool.
That'd be like top tier. Like everyone.
Maybe we just have a different measure of cool, but
It could
I
be.
don't know.
It could maybe I'm in the right place.
Yeah, you're cool here. That's what counts.
Exactly.
Well, there are some things about Inver Hills that are pretty special. You've got a resource center. Is it called the Prism?
The Prism Center of Gender and Sexuality.
Yeah, tell me.
It was founded or started last year. You were here for it.
I was here when it opened. We had an opening ceremony and everything. It was really fun.
What was that like?
It was fun. I got to thankfully I got to be a part of it when it opened, and like we got to see how busy it actually got, and like how many people felt comfortable being in that space and like just to be themselves in that, and like regardless of whatever like confrontations or whatever, like the conversations were like respectable. Like everyone respected each other, and like sometimes you don't always see that, but like in the Prism Center, I feel like that's like just the safest space like for people who don't feel safe all the time, like at least at the college anyway. So
Yeah.
Well, you were here when it opened. Were you one of the people who was pushing for the center to exist?
Yeah. I didn't do as much as Amy did, but I definitely pushed to have it open because when I was in high school, we didn't have too much. We did have a GSA, but we didn't really have too much of a safe space, especially like the school I went to. But like, this is just the Prism Center and everything. I was just like, that needs to happen. Like, it's such a good thing for everybody. Like, anyone can go in there. It's just for everybody, So.
Well, it doesn't exist everywhere. Like every school does not have a space like the Prism Center. So it's really, I got to take a short bit of time in there earlier, and I was like, oh, this is really nice.
Yeah.
Even coming out of college, you don't really have a space that's not like a bar or something, where you can just hang out and be with your people.
Yeah.
Were you going to speak to the Prism Center a little bit earlier?
I love the Prism Center. It's my favorite place to be. We have the fairy lights in there and the lights are off, which helps a lot with like sensory stuff too, because it's not like the harsh like artificial lighting all the time. There's coloring sheets. I hang out in there and color a lot and study, and the blanket's really fuzzy, and sometimes you take naps in there.
Yeah.
It's a great spot to take naps. The important things, we also have a lot of like LGBT resources and free flags and buttons and stickers and all the fun things, condoms. We got dental dams just today that I put in there.
There's
So
also
nice.
books too, important things.
And there are not necessarily trigger warnings, but you like kind of inform people about the books that they're picking up before they take them out.
Yeah, so there's they have bookmarks just like so you can like write out which one you're taking with you, and also like they have the covers and everything, so you can see what they're about. So
which is nice because sometimes your book I'm like, oh, this is not the book I intended to get. So I hold the dual identities of being gay and also being black, and so this is a bit of an aside. But I picked up a book from some popular author, And I was reading it, and like she's like a bounty hunter, and her sidekick is like this obese black woman. And I was like, this is just so racist.
Oh,
As
no.
I'm going through, it was like every stereotype.
Yeah.
And I was like, why is this on the bestseller list? What's going on? And so I would have appreciated like a little note. That's the
Yeah.
kind of thing where I would have been like, you're going to see this everywhere, but it's not what you would expect.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's nice.
Mhm.
So there was an element of advocacy involved
Mhm.
in the creation of the Prism Center.
Mhm.
So let's say that maybe that was like some past advocacy
Mhm.
that was accomplished. What are you working on these days?
Currently, we're pushing for more gender-neutral bathrooms. There's a grant that we're going to be applying for. I wrote an essay on it last semester for my English class, actually, that I just sent to the school and was like, hey, make more bathrooms. I shouldn't have to leave the building to go to the bathroom that I feel most comfortable in, you know, because we have, like, I think 5 on campus, but that's not as many as there are buildings on campus.
Oh, okay.
But they're doing a lot of construction over the summer, so we're going to hopefully get more of those. And
So let me just clarify. So there are 5 gender-neutral bathrooms on campus.
to my knowledge, yes.
And you're only really comfortable using the bathroom in a gender-neutral bathroom.
I would prefer that, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
But like if you're in the building, like the business building or a certain building, there's not like a gender neutral bathroom in there. So if you want to use the bathroom, you're in the middle of class, now you have to leave the building.
Yeah.
And in Minnesota, that can get really cold, really snowy, really icy.
Yep.
So you have to plan your day around it, which no student should have to do.
Oh,
So
agreed.
we're pushing for that. And then there's also the code of conduct that we wrote, the LGBTQ officer board wrote about how people in the club can support each other and be allies for each other, and how other students on campus can be allies, and giving that to the college to apply not just to LGBTQ plus club, but to other clubs too, as a base work for how to like support all clubs and different identities. Anything?
Yeah.
Dakota?
I was gonna add, well, you kind of talked about it a little bit, but like, we, as officers, we talked about having some stuff on our, like, school website thing where, students and professors could watch videos and learn about, like, pronouns and, like, names and stuff to help, like, accommodate people who don't use the name that's on their registration and everything. So yeah, that's one of the things that stuck out when that we're working on, to me at least.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Especially since I'm hearing that coming from high school to college is a time of added transition. We'll call it extra transition.
Yeah.
And so maybe when you're applying for college, you have to use this one particular name.
Yeah.
Then you get here and you're like, actually, some things have changed.
Yep.
And this is what you need to do. And am I hearing that there's no real process in place for that ahead of when you actually get to school?
There's ways you can do it, but it's less clear than it should be.
Okay.
It's not as known.
Yeah.
Like,
Wonderful.
we brought it up in one of our meetings about, like, on the websites for the school that we use for, like, homework and whatnot, like, to name change and, like, adding pronouns and stuff. But it wasn't clear before that was a thing until we actually got into the school.
That is such good work. I'm active with the city of Minneapolis. I've run for office. I've done some stuff. And so much of the problems in our system are like, you have a program, but no one knows how to find it.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
you have a program and no one can access it until like after they've already been impacted by this problem. Like, you can be proactive and you can really communicate what's available to people. Like, you don't have to make it this hard.
Yeah.
And there definitely comes to be a point where it feels like it's almost like laziness on their part, really.
Yeah.
Like, just take this
You
little
said it,
extra
not
step.
me.
Yeah. It's not asking for a whole lot.
No.
Yeah.
And at least not in my opinion. So I really commend the work that you do, because sometimes it can be like, well, we took something that already existed and we made it easier. And some people, it's like, well, that was so easy to explain that I don't know if it was really difficult or worthwhile. And it genuinely is. And you will likely be spending a good part of the rest of your lives doing the same thing. Because the system wasn't made for us. It wasn't developed with our input. And so we will have to continue to adjust the system around our existence.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, I believe there may have been other people in the room who wanted to speak to advocacy or how life was different. I'm trying to turn around and also talking to the mic. Life was different between high school and now. Is there anyone who wanted to come on up? Oh, we've got
We've
two
got
people
two.
who want to trade.
All
Okay.
right.
Thank you so much, Renee Dakota. I think we might be hearing from you in the next segment. So
Maybe.
maybe.
Who knows?
Yeah. Okay, wherever you'd like. Hello, hello. Okay, so I'm Jerome. My pronouns are he, him. What's your name?
I'm Farron. I use they, he pronouns.
Hey, Farron.
Hello.
And I'm Olivia, and my pronouns are she, they.
Awesome. Now, how are you involved in the club?
I am the vice president.
Very cool.
And I am the communications director.
Oh, two more officers. Wonder what everyone's feeling empowered here today. I love that. I love that. Okay, well, which of those two questions would you like to speak to first, or both?
Honestly, probably more of the advocacy
Yeah.
aspect.
Bring it on.
Yeah. Additionally to the gender neutral bathrooms and all of that, we are also doing a drag show as some form of advocacy too, an amateur drag show this semester.
Mhm.
Both because of all of the anti-trans legislation and just also that trans joy of experiencing that. And we are actually starting to work on that now. We're starting to work on we're going to have a makeup soon, a little makeup help thing so people
Oh.
can start learning how to do it, because obviously if you want to participate, you may not know how to do the makeup
So many
for
drag
it.
queens need that help.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So that is one of the big things we're doing this semester advocacy-wise, as well as the fact that last semester we actually brought a panel of drag performers from Lush to educate what drag is and speak on that for the greater campus community and not just for the club.
You know, I made fun of the makeup thing, but now that I'm giving it like even 2 seconds of thought, like how else would you really learn how to do your makeup if not in community? You'd be at home alone, hiding in the dark or something, maybe hiding from your parents, hiding from your siblings.
With a bunch of YouTube tutorials open.
Yeah. So it's really wonderful. Great idea. And I did catch a mirror with a light on it in the Prism Center. And I was like, oh, what a great idea.
Yeah, a lot of people use that mirror and appreciate it very much.
Yes, it's the little things.
Yeah, it makes it, especially because for a lot of people, it may not be, they want to present more femininely, they want to wear makeup, but at home it's just not safe for them to do so.
Yeah.
And then if they're assigned male specifically trying to do makeup in the men's bathroom or the female bathroom, it's easier to just have it in a space that they know they would be safe to be able to do it.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. We spoke briefly on allyship, and one of the things I'm really appreciating in this conversation is that as a gay male, a lot of the concerns that you bring to the table I'd never really thought about before, but I fully support. And as soon as you articulate them, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Oh yeah, that makes sense. But it does take your bringing it to my attention for me to even know, for me to even think about it, which is something I should work on, like so I can be more proactive, like I was just ranting about a few minutes ago. Hey.
Yes, I wanted to talk about the high school and college experience.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so in high school, I went to Sibley, just down the road, and it was mostly just focus on getting good grades, make sure you're in extracurriculars, so it looks good on your college transcript.
Right.
It wasn't really about many communities. I mean, there were some clubs there that I was a part of. There was a GSA there, but it wasn't really put in place until after I was already gone. And then, yes, there was just so many different things that you could do there, but like nothing really to go with the community that we have here.
So you didn't feel like a resonance with the LGBTQ community in high school because it just wasn't available for you at all.
Yeah, there was barely anything.
Were you looking for community at that time and couldn't find it, or is it just after you got here where you're like, oh, I needed that?
At that time, I was too busy paying attention to my studies, and then in 11th grade, I had this very bad mental breakdown, and then I ended up switching schools entirely, and going to a performing arts school, and
Oh.
that helped a lot. And then like that really brought on my whole community because there was everyone there was able to wear what they want, and they were all presenting how they wanted, and pronouns were more relevant than at that school. Everyone just assumed your pronouns, and then it was just a lot more open. It was pretty much like college, since you went to your classes, but since I transferred, I already had a lot of the classes already. So I just needed to do my arts classes because half the day was academic, half the day were arts.
Okay.
And so you pretty much went to your arts classes, then you went to your academic classes, but I had a lot of free periods. So I just would walk around St. Paul, downtown St. Paul, and that was a lot of fun. Yeah, and that made me feel more comfortable in my own body and my own self, feel more confident. And then I was going to go to Mankato for theater.
Okay.
But then COVID hit, and I was like, well, I'm not going to go down there by myself with no community at all. So I was at home and I went to Inver.
So, did you feel appropriately supported regarding your mental health during that COVID time when we were all experiencing mental health issues?
Well, there's a lot of different family issues that happened during that time too. So I wasn't really supported that much, but then after I kept trying to do school, because like my first 2 semesters I did online. Online does not work for me. So I ended up failing like almost everything.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And you were studious.
Yeah. I was just like, this is so different. Like it's really something like being pulled away from people entirely, from before the breakdown to after, and we found like a community, and then after isolation.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you feel supported now.
Yes, now I feel so supported. There's so many friends I have here, and
so the club and the Prism Center are like a big part of that.
Yes.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So amazing. They're so welcoming too.
What are some of the things that you do together? Because I think Ren spoke to like almost like solitude, like alone time, like coloring. Yeah. You know, like there's a fuzzy blanket in there apparently.
Oh yes, 2 fuzzy blankets.
Oh, okay.
2 of them.
Is it just about knowing that there is a place where you can go and be with community, and is that the joy that's there, or are there also programs and events that are taking place there that are like scheduled?
Well, there are scheduled programs and events through like student life, and like usually our whole friend group will just all meet in like Prism Center, and then we'll all go together.
Yeah. Okay. So this is familiar to me because a lot of times, as a older man at this point, well, you'll all meet at a person's house, let's say, and then we'll go somewhere else. Yeah. And so there's always like the first location.
Yeah, the meetup spot.
The meetup spot, exactly. And it's wonderful that you have that here, where you definitely probably did not have that in high school.
No.
Definitely
not.
Yeah.
On top of that, the LGBT Club itself, we put on our own events fairly often. There's the drag show that's coming up that's going to have like rehearsals and all of that. We have like social events for Trans Day of Visibility, for Trans Day of Remembrance, all of these different celebratory things and learning opportunities. And honestly, for me as well, while I went to a performing arts high school for the first 2 years of school and then had to transfer to a normal high school. Okay. So I had the community, I was very open with myself, and then had some backpedaling due to specifically the second school I was at was not particularly, it would not have been particularly safe. Yeah. To trying to reopen again in my senior year, which was 2019-2020. So starting to reclaim that community, and then everything shuts down. Yeah. On top of that, I'm actually from Vegas originally. Oh. I moved here about 2 years ago by myself, not with my family. And the main way that I found friends here and people to get along with and know was actually through the Prism Center, helping set that up through club, through the little events and things we would do.
Oh, that's fantastic. What a wonderful resource. Everyone out there, you need a Prism Center. Actually, it has a pretty great website too. So you can look for the Inver Hills Community College Prism Center and see what's available. Okay, was there anyone else here that wanted to speak on those first two topics? Okay, we've got someone. Anyone else? Okay, well, I'll just need one person to switch out.
I'll go.
Okay.
If you want to stay.
Thank you. We may see you
Good.
again soon. I love the high fives.
Just the transfer.
Yeah. So I'm Jerome. My pronouns are he, him.
My name is Hashton. My pronouns are they, she.
Hey, Ashton. So were you more moved to speak on the difference between college life and your high school life, or advocacy here at Inver Hills?
I think I can say more about the transition between college and high school life.
Yeah.
I guess different than a lot of people, I realized I was like non-binary trans after high school, but in between college because I took a gap year.
Oh, okay.
And it was also after COVID. It was like 2021, I think. And so it was very interesting going from high school where I was just always perceived as a man and
Yeah.
treated that way, and then going to college and being like, wait, people are like open to not treating me that way if I want to. And
Yeah.
so it's been very nice.
It's been good. Okay. I mean, so often it's not good for people when they're going through that experience. So it's really reaffirming to hear that on this campus, in this club, there's a space for you.
Yes.
And that's fantastic. Thank you. Was there anything else you want to speak to on that?
Much.
All right. Well, you sit tight. What we'll do is we'll take a coffee break. Everyone can stretch their legs, shrug their shoulders, do whatever they want to do, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Bottomless Coffee. We're having a special episode with the students of the LGBT Club at Inver Hills Community College. And one thing we didn't talk about in the last segment that we should have brought up is the gender-neutral locker room.
Yes. On top of around the same time that we were petitioning for the gender neutral bathrooms as well as the Prism Center opening, we actually did manage to get one singular gender neutral locker room in our activities building. It used to be one of the male staff member locker rooms, but it is now a thing. And even it used to be that you had to get a key for it and out yourself there, but over time we've worked on it, so now it's just fully open.
That's really cool. I haven't heard of another place doing that. I haven't looked, but I haven't heard of that, and so that's quite the accomplishment.
Yeah, it is very nice to have.
Nice job. So let's talk about something related but different. Coming out and being outed. So we talked a little bit in the last segment about the transition from high school to college, and it sounded like a lot of people felt like they had come out in high school.
Yeah.
And it was not well received, let's say, by the community, not as well as we would like. And so there was a different coming out experience here.
Yes.
And then others had different experiences. So like, what was yours?
So I have two coming outs
Sure.
because I'm non-binary, which I didn't realize until my senior year, so 2019. And then having to cope with that and figure that out more over the pandemic.
Yeah.
A lot of time to think, for better or for worse.
Yeah. And how about you? You shared a little bit about yours.
Yeah, what was the question?
Your coming out experience.
So I came out to my parents when, like, the first thing I did is at Pride of 2021, I bought a little non-binary flag, and my dad was like, "Oh, cool, what's that?" I was like, "Non-binary." I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Not bad."
Yeah, okay.
So I've slowly been like talking about it more, but with
Yeah.
school, it's pretty much at high school. I never really had to do that since I wasn't non-binary yet. But here at this campus, it's been like, oh, I just go up to people and say what my name and pronouns are, and they'll accept it. And
It's wonderful.
at least like everyone in this room and a lot of other people as well are really nice with it.
Yeah.
There's some people who just don't use it as much, but they at least don't seem to do it in a mean way.
Not malicious.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. And was that part of the code of conduct that we spoke on a little bit last time too? Like
Yes.
how people can be better allies?
Yes, that is in fact one of the things on our code of conduct. We actually have quite a bit covered in that. Language, we specifically have a section on not outing people, listening to one another if your experiences are different, because obviously, even if two people are non-binary, depending on family circumstances, where they're from, when they realize, it can be a completely different experience, and everyone's experience is valid and needs to be heard. And sometimes, unfortunately, people get wrapped up in their own thing and talk over each other a little bit more than they should.
Well, since we're talking about the outing versus coming out, what prompted the idea that you should not out other people as needing to be something that's like kind of codified in the code of conduct?
Frankly, it's just dangerous for some people, or like their family may not know, their family may be very homophobic, and especially in college, it's in a very sensitive position where you're almost independent, but still you have some level of reliance that can make it very, very risky and completely change how everything works out for you, especially because college is unfortunately not cheap.
Right.
And even beyond that, though, even if it isn't about safety, it's still a matter that it's not your story. Because for some people, that realization can be this giant thing that completely shook up their world and everything changed. While for other people, it's just like you realized when you were young and then did not directly say it, and then just accidentally like, oh yeah, I like girls too, while ranting about someone else, but I don't.
Right.
And it's just a matter of everyone should have the power to control their story and how they tell their story.
100% behind you. I would say even especially at the high school, college age, when people are like trying to figure themselves out, you know?
Especially because it also may be a matter that it's only it's something that was big for you, so you're starting very, very small with only a select group of people.
Yeah.
And it can be distressing if it gets out faster than you wanted it to.
Yes, 100%. Any more to add on that topic? Because we also do have the question of what students and teachers can do to make you feel more comfortable.
Not really too much. Just it's similar to what you had said. It's just really something where you don't want people to know about something always. So if you go out and say, oh, this person is non-binary, trans, like whatever it is, and they're not like comfortable telling everyone about it, then that would just like break your trust with them and put them in a position where they have to try to explain themselves more than they would want to people that they might not want to explain it to.
It's a really interesting intersection of agency and community and pride, because once you get to a certain age, where I am, if someone's like, oh yeah, Jerome's gay, it's like, yeah, everybody knows.
Yeah.
Really public about it.
Yep.
But you're absolutely right that when I was in college, that's not something that I would have wanted people to publicize, because I wasn't publicizing it.
Yeah.
And I think there's a big difference if you are out and you are holding the flag, you know, it's like, who is that? How do they identify? Then I think you'd be allowed to share. But if someone's keeping their business, and they're keeping you as a close member, yeah, that's something that needs to be respected.
Yeah.
And it's always good to be reminded of that.
Because when it comes down to it, everyone is in different points.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, I'm also one of the people, I don't mind if you're just like, oh yeah, they're non-binary. They use they, he pronouns and all of that. But other people aren't in a state where they have that confidence yet.
Right. 100% agree. Okay, I'm going to check out the rest of the room. Okay, Ren's got a hand down. Oh, multiple hands. Okay, well, we haven't heard from you yet, but then we'll continue to. Okay, can we swap out?
Yes.
Are we good? Okay. Exciting. It's the first time we've done this kind of live swap on Bottomless Coffee. Okay. Rin, we've met you before, but hey, I'm Jerome. My pronouns are he, him.
I'm Mars. My pronouns are he.
Hey, Mars. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for being here.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I'm having a really good time. And as I mentioned earlier, there's cake. So, so we are talking about coming out and being outed, but then also what things teachers and students can do to make you feel more comfortable. And so, Mars, we haven't heard from you yet. So which of those two things or both would you like to talk about?
Well, first, I think what makes me feel comfortable is like physically showing that you are in support. Like the safe space stickers, I think are really helpful. Like the first day of class, like asking people to say their pronouns. Supporting like trans people, like when in education, like I'm in a science class right now and he has like acknowledged trans people as like existing, which not everyone does, especially in a science class.
Oh, okay. Now, I was not aware of that, and I wouldn't have expected that given your robust presence here at the community college. It's a good reminder that in the education sphere in particular, there's basically a war raging outside of this campus, outside of Minnesota, really. It's a debate that's not really a debate. They're kind of making up a debate that's dangerous for people. And so what I think I'm hearing you say is when people in Minnesota in particular on a campus like this are reminding you, reminding everyone about what's actually real, you know, and what's actually safe, that makes you feel better.
Yeah.
It makes me feel better too. That's nice. Well, because it's messy out there. I don't even like go to Texas anymore if I can help it. What's going on with you, Ren?
I'm here. I'm excited to be here again.
Yeah.
Ren 2.0.
Were you thinking about things that make you more comfortable on campus, or were you thinking about coming out or being out?
I got all the things.
Give it.
To add on what Mars was saying, with teachers like affirming things, I study psychology and we learn a lot of like very male sex, female sex, and very like segmented things. And what my teacher does a very great job of being like, sex is one thing, gender is one thing, sexuality is one thing. None of these things have to like be based upon one another. And when we talk about male and female, we are talking about your chromosomes, not about like your gender, because that is a completely different thing.
Yes.
And just being reminded of that is very affirming as someone who doesn't identify strictly with male or female. So that's a great thing.
Wonderful.
Yes.
And it's distinct from the way that I was taught in high school or college. And so I love that the curriculum has been updated to reflect reality. That's wonderful. Because, you know, it could be updated in the bad way, like in Florida. So I'm glad we're heading in the right direction.
Yeah, me too. And then my coming out was very fun because my mom, like my family growing up, the family show that we watched was RuPaul's Drag Race.
Oh, cute.
So we all bonded over RuPaul, you know. And I like to say my mom and I bonded over our hatred of our chest and our love of Angelina Jolie.
Okay.
So
Sure, why not?
I came out to my mom first as pansexual, and she was like, "Yeah, we've known since kindergarten." And I was like, I didn't even know in kindergarten.
Yeah.
And apparently I wore a hand-knit rainbow sweater every single day in kindergarten that she knit me.
Oh.
And she was like, "Yeah, we were just confused because we thought you were like gay, but you also liked Adam Levine." So we were like, because they didn't know the words for like bi or pan or anything, and they were like, where do you fit in the boxes?
Yeah.
And then when I came out as non-binary, transmasculine, like a couple months later, my mom came out as non-binary. So
Really?
yeah, she uses she, they, and they felt like liberated, you know, because their whole life they felt like stuck between man and woman, and now they finally have a word for what they've been feeling, you know?
Yeah. I'm struck by some of what you shared with regard to trying to figure out the box that you fit in, and it's like neat to always put people in a box. You know, it's okay to not be in a box, everybody. But that is, our culture has determined that everyone must be in a box of some kind, which is just really annoying in my mind. Boxes and boxes and boxes. But I'm glad they finally found the words, and that you've also found the words, and that your relationship is so wonderful. Yeah. Did you speak to your coming out experience? Mars?
No, I haven't. The first time I came out, I was actually in middle school and got bullied back into the closet. So yeah, that was not fun. My family was also not very supportive. They, my grandma is now, and the second time coming out was 2 years ago now. But yeah, my grandma's actually been more supportive than my mom, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But
My grandmother's the same way. She's like, put your husband on the phone. I was like, okay.
but it's very nice to be here and to be able to feel comfortable in a space. Like in high school, we had GSA, like other people were saying, but it wasn't really. I think I was like the main person advocating for things, but it wouldn't really go anywhere because the higher ups would like shut it down pretty quick.
It is difficult to be an advocate. Because, inherently, even by definition, like you are missing something that you need and something needs to be changed around you, and people are so resistant to change. And then if you're in high school, you're already in a vulnerable position. And so I applaud your courage. And even, you came out even that first time in the face of incredible adversity. Like, I'm just happy you're here,
Me too.
Yeah.
Sometimes, most of the time.
I'll say most of the time.
We're happy you're here.
Wonderful. Is there anyone else who wanted to speak to? Oh, that's right. Come on up.
Do you want me to leave or do you want to leave?
Get out of here.
Welcome back to Coda.
Thank you.
Yes. So we are talking about coming out and being outed, or things that teachers or students can do to make you feel more comfortable. Which of those led you back to the chair?
Kind of like both of them a little bit. So I'll talk about the coming out thing. Funny enough, I'm not out to my parents. I'm out everywhere else. I came out to most of my siblings, and well, I have 3 siblings, so 2 of them. But one of them is very accepting, and she's trying her hardest, and that's what I appreciate about people when I tell people my preferred pronouns and stuff, that, like, they're trying.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people talk about that. Like, they're like, oh, you just do it, like, it's not that easy for everyone, which is understandable, but also, like, it also makes me feel a lot happier that people are like that,
Yeah.
And then for the what
Things that make you more
professors?
comfortable.
Yeah. So like the trying thing, like I said, and also like what you said, Mars, about the what was it, like the little stickers and stuff, and also like introducing yourself with your preferred pronouns and like your preferred name and everything, which is also very like accepting, and it makes you feel really good,
Yeah. Good. Well, that's nice. Okay. Was there anyone else that wanted to weigh in before we go to our next break? So as I keep mentioning, there is cake. Okay. Thanks. We'll be right back. Okay. Welcome back to Bottomless Coffee. We are at Inver Hills Community College with the LGBT Club, having a really just wonderful conversation. I'm having a fantastic time. And we're going to talk about, we've been talking about transitioning a lot. And so I think we're on to our 3rd definition of the word transition. This time we're talking about coming into the school, leaving the school, going in between schools, but, change in that way. And I believe you are already having some thoughts on that topic right now.
Yes.
Please share.
So, well, in general, being queer is a lot of transition.
Mm.
There's always different identities, different ways that you have to figure out your definition of yourself in the spaces you're entering. When I transferred here, because like I said, I moved from Vegas, I'm from 1,500 miles away.
But who's counting?
I didn't know what exactly I was walking into, even politics wise. It's and it's a lot of reading the area and figuring out if it's a safe choice or a good choice. And that has also been a big thing because I'm transferring after this semester to one of the 4 years, because after being here for 2 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And that was definitely interesting from the perspective of trying to figure out which college.
Yeah.
From the perspective of just majors, because some schools are just not good for certain majors. But there's always the additional layer of, is the college you're transferring to going to be safe?
Yeah. Yeah. That's real.
Yeah.
Not even just, are they going to be supportive? Is it going to be safe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. What are your thoughts?
Well, for like, outside of like my personal preferences for transferring, because I'm also transferring after this semester, and but it's really difficult because finding all the little things that you like, be the safety, and then also like the financials and the nitpicky things you have to worry about, and like housing and stuff if you're moving into a dorm or moving into an apartment or whatever. Like moving is very difficult too.
It's a pain.
Yeah, for real. It's something.
Especially with a non-binary identity, because a lot of the systems for dorms especially are still very heavily
Oh my
segregated.
gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me,
You haven't dealt with it.
I haven't dealt with it yet,
Yeah.
but it's
I'll
gonna
help you
happen.
when it does.
Oh, that's
Appreciate
good.
it.
We're transferring to the same school.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad you'll have each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
That one was an interesting one because of the way the school was trying to be supportive. It was very good for what they were working with, but it's still one of those situations of, was this really necessary steps to take? Because it's a basic form, male, female, and then at the school it has an option for trans with little asterisks beside it.
Okay.
If you hit trans and try to hit submit, it sends you back to the top of the page with a disclaimer.
No.
Which is pretty much, look, we don't really have the proper settings for that. So what you're going to need to do is choose what biological sex you'd be more comfortable sharing a bathroom with, and then email this completely separate person, and he'll get back to you and help you figure it out.
Oh. Not ideal.
Not at all.
Not ideal.
And it's the housing coordinator, and he is very supportive and is trying his best to accomplish everyone. He works in tandem with their LGBT center, actually.
Yeah.
But it's still an extra step that the cis students don't have to deal with.
Right. And you don't know what you're getting into. Like, this current housing coordinator is supportive, but people change jobs.
Yeah.
Just like people change schools.
Yep.
And so, they can do better.
Yeah.
They could do better.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's more advocacy work in your future.
Yes.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yep. A lot more. Yeah.
But our next question though is a happier question. It's what brings you joy. We talked about what makes you comfortable, what makes you uncomfortable. We talked about change, and we're gonna open it up to other people as well in just a minute or two. But what's bringing you joy now, or what do you know will bring you joy in the future?
For me, well, we've been talking about the community a lot, and
Yeah.
that's something that really brings me joy because, well, like, in my past I haven't had that, so now that I have it, I'm like, I don't want to leave it.
Yeah.
But it's like, also I need to, like, move on with my life a little bit, but like, this community will still be there, and that's what brings me joy. And also my friends, like, a lot of my friends that I have now I met here at Inver, which is really nice. Yeah, and we have a lot in common, and that's really something that really makes me happy. And especially since, like, with like sexuality and gender, we can relate with each other, so we can talk about those difficult topics that you can't talk about with someone who doesn't relate with that.
Stay connected with everyone
Yeah.
as you go. It's much easier to remain connected to people than it is to lose touch and then try to reconnect.
Yeah.
This is a big pain. So,
Yep.
you know, send the text messages or do whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
Like the photos. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
What's bringing you joy?
Similarly, just that sense of community, because as we've established through all of this, especially at Inver, the community is such a big thing, and we have all these different cool things going on. Like, we went to a drag brunch as a club
Yeah.
and got to experience that together. For some people, it was their first drag brunch. For others, they've seen other drag shows before. Just all of the different experiences and different people you meet, on top of just interests. And college is really fun because it's basically giving you the freedom to choose what you want to try. Like, there's so many different classes, and there's usually a way to fit it into your degree if you really, really want to.
Yeah. College is supposed to feel liberating.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad you were able to find that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yay. Joy. Liberation is joyful.
Mhm.
Yes, it is, for sure.
Okay. Who else is going to take a break from their cake? Come on up, Fred. Debbie, did you want to speak to Joy or to...
Okay.
Come on up.
I may be speaking on president, but I'm very interested.
Oh, okay, okay. Sure.
Oh, I'm back.
Rin is
Rin
back.
3.0. Third time's a charm, right?
I've enjoyed every version of Rin
Thank you.
so far. I'm Jerome. My pronouns are he, him.
I'm Debbie. They, them.
Hey, Debbie.
Yeah.
So we're talking about almost like future plans or past plans, transferring in, transferring out, transfers in general, and then what brings you joy. So you can speak to either one. We'll start with Debbie.
I'm technically a transfer student
Go.
to here, and then I'm transferring again to the same school that MSU Mankato.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's gonna be great. Mankato's gonna be like the hot spot to be.
Yes. we're dragging our other friends in too. Because might as well have us a community.
That's what community does. We drag each other.
Yes. Sorry, like I said, there's some struggles with the housing there, but we're getting. That's what we're there for.
Yeah.
I did that. But I originally started Century College in 2018. I was realizing I was pan then, not realizing I was non-binary. That was a long journey until that point then. I went 2 years there. It wasn't a bad college. I just didn't get connected to the community there. So I transferred to, nothing against the school, but it's a Christian school.
Okay.
And not very, always a queer accepting place.
Yeah,
I
I wouldn't
was-
do that. So.
The reason why I went there was because I just was having struggles with my home life and I just wanted to escape.
To get out.
And that was not the best escape, and I'm in debt from that, but that's besides the point.
Okay.
I learned my lesson.
Yeah.
Really expensive lesson, but so I did. So I tried asking like about LGBT Club there, and they were like, "Oh, they won't do that."
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. And then COVID happened, and I dropped out, just mental health also, but it was a
Mhm.
good blessing. And then 2021, I transferred here, which again was really dead here still, and I didn't really get connected to the community. I decided to be a nursing major for some reason.
Okay.
Don't know why I suck at bio.
Okay.
A lot of things, not really mistakes, just learning experiences.
Yeah.
And the only good thing that came from Concordia was I met Kimberly Sweeney, our current student director here, who has been a really big advocate for us. She's had learning experiences. I don't know if they talk about issues we've had this past. Oh, sorry. Not really.
Okay.
But we had some stuff, but she was very helpful in learning the experience.
Good.
But it got solved and there was no problems. We're really close now and close. That's just gonna happen, unfortunately.
Well, what brings you joy?
I'm a criminal justice major, and
Okay.
I'm looking to do policy work in the form of like helping people who experience abuse of power from the hands of people who suffer by
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you're going to be busy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially as a non-binary.
The joys of job security.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you.
Welcome back.
Hi, I'm here again. What can I say? I had some cake, now I'm back.
Jealous. I'm
Yeah.
jealous. It's going to be my turn for cake soon.
Yeah.
Did you have a transfer experience or anything you want to speak on?
This is still my first year. I'm planning on transferring not this at the end of this spring, but the end of next spring to Winona State University. They have gender neutral dorms there that I'm very excited to
wonderful.
look more into. And that's really all I know about transferring so far. Right now I'm working on the Inver, and then I'll get there when I get there. That's a future me problem, you know?
But you know what's wonderful about you having this community and you all having this kind of shared experience is that you know that there are places with gender neutral dorms. So it is
Yeah.
possible.
Yes.
Whereas if you were acting in isolation, you would be able to share that information with each other.
Yes.
So that's good.
And having like gender neutral dorms, a lot of colleges will make like everybody who lives in that dorm sign something that says like they won't harass or discriminate against other people like on the floor. Otherwise, they'll get like much harsher like punishments and
A
stuff
code
from
of conduct.
yeah.
Like what we've spoken
Yeah,
about.
you know?
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. It's nice to hear that you're going someplace where you won't have as much advocacy work to do in that area, but I'm sure you'll find
I'll find something.
Yes.
I will always find something to make better.
Fantastic. And
Um,
what brings you joy?
these people here. I love the community here at Inver, like in all the different clubs. I know, like, I am not a criminal justice major like our friend Debbie here, but I started coming to the criminal justice club because I was like, well, my friends are there, you know, I might as well check it out. And now I've made new friends there, you know, learning
Fabulous.
new things, impacting people, teaching a lot of people that are going to become police officers what pronouns are.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they're
It's
Okay.
they've done amazing. They've done amazing now.
they're improving.
They're
Good,
improving.
good.
You know?
good. Let's take the progress we can
Yep,
get.
they're open
Yeah.
to learning, and that's all I care about, you know.
Agreed. Oh, that's
Um,
fantastic.
but just like day to day, like saying hi to people, because in high school I didn't get involved with anything because of like my own mental health and all of that going on. I didn't really know people, and if people knew me, they were like, "Oh, that's the weird kid," you know. But now in college, like I'll just walk around in the halls and be like, "Oh, you're my friend. Hi. Oh, you're my friend. Hi." And like
Yeah.
getting to fully like be involved and like know what that means is so it brings me so much joy every day.
Oh, that's beautiful. I'm so glad you found this joy here in this space. Was there anyone else? Oh, Amy's crying again. Was there anyone else? Okay.
Thank you.
I've looked at everyone 3 times. I just want to share that this has been a really joyful and affirming experience for me personally. I can see some other people in the room have also had a wonderful experience. Just thank you so much for being such wonderful advocates for yourselves and by extension, the rest of our community. It really does mean a lot. It really is impactful. And I think you're going to change some lives.
That's the goal.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. And thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Still Jerome, still he, him. Stream us at bottomlesscoffeeshow.com. Thanks. We did it. Where's that cake?
Right there, waiting for you.